joined now by Peter Kaufman, president of Gordian Group. Thank you so much for being here.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
You had a panel just a few minutes ago, and you're basically talking about the rules of the game and the playbook right now and how all of that comes into play. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, the vernacular in the industry is there a playbook? Is there a set by rote process and steps that professionals take to get a company out of bankruptcy? And everybody interprets the playbook in their own way. At Gordian Group, and in the book I co-authored with one of my partners, the definitive book on distressed investment banking, we're really focused on the playbook that says you just allocate value on a waterfall basis among the constituents. And we're a big believer, since we primarily advise boards of directors, private equity firms, and old equity, that we are not a big believer in simply allocating value along the value waterfall. There are a lot of creative strategies that can be employed if you're interested in doing something out of the box. We happen to think that's important, and that's one of the ways that people interpret a playbook.
Can you give us a couple of ideas for anyone who might be watching and interested in this? A couple of ideas outside, outside of coloring, outside of the lines, that these days might be better employed.
Kind of difficult without laying a fact pattern. The really fun part of this job is there's no cookie cutter set of reasons why a company gets in trouble, and there's no cookie cutter set of solutions. One thing you want to try and do is you want to get liquidity. If you're the debtor and you're interested in old equity, you want to try and get sufficient liquidity to be able to have a vigorous fight in Chapter 11. Meanwhile, going to your creditors with carrots in addition to sticks. You want to have strategies that are carrots and sticks. That's something we at Gordian love to do. Most other advisors don't. They just like to do carrots and have everybody get along nicely. We're a lot more comfortable if our clients' needs dictate in coming up with sticks as well as carrots to get creditors to do what our client wants.
And what may have worked a few years ago may not work in this current climate right now. What kinds of changes have you seen over the years, and what do you expect to see down the road?
Well, I'd say that the biggest headline right now is that the refinancing market for debt maturities is quite ebullient, and that's because interest rates are so low, the system is awash in liquidity, and a lot of companies that otherwise in other cycles wouldn't merit getting that sort of refinancing capital are getting it. There are some really good companies operationally that are over-levered that aren't the best students in the class, and they're not getting refinanced out today, and those are the companies that we're primarily working on. I'll call that more in the middle market, working on behalf of private equity firms. The larger deals, we've actually worked for two unions. We'd only worked for one other union in our 25-year history. We're working for the largest union, the TWU in American Airlines, and we're working for the Bakery Confectioners Union in Hostess. And talk about playbooks, we asked our client in American, the TWU leadership, to throw the old playbook out, and they had the vision to do that, which means we were able to give them our company side perspective and tactics, where we preach options and optionality. You want to have sticks and carrots, and in this particular situation, that entailed having the union negotiate with American Airlines on a contract, but also be negotiating with U.S. Air, try and create a spirit of competition, try and elevate their position in the case beyond that which they might otherwise have enjoyed. And knock on wood, so far that's working out really well for them.
You have so much good information, and I'm sure you have a lot more information in your book. Tell me again about this book, what it's called.
It's called Distressed Investment Banking to the Abyss and Back, and we've donated the proceeds to a not-for-profit.
How fabulous. All right, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks very much for having me.